This is Lee Ridley. I was lucky enough to achieve 2 promotions with Scunthorpe United, but nothing compares to the joy I experience when listening to the Iron Hour podcast. Just a heads up, this podcast contains strong language, you know, the good stuff. If this isn't for you, turn off now. For the rest of you, now fucking enjoy the podcast.
Right, welcome once again to another episode of the Iron Hour podcast. Thanks to our sponsors, Best Blank Wholesale, and well, where to start? What a fantastic result we had at the weekend, looking ahead to the next 2 games. I'm rolling the red carpet out for you, Marco. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I think everyone's got that. Obviously, we're recording this not straight after a game, but so recently after the Brackley game. I think we've all got that feel-good factor at the minute, and it's making me early start to a week go a lot easier. And I think it was all very pleasantly surprised. I didn't think we'd get beat. I didn't think we'd win in that manner. Really pleasantly surprised. Unusually chirpy for early on in the week. So, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, of course, just say we are recording this early on in the week. I'm guessing this is going to drop with you back end of the week, just before the Marine game at home. Gareth, fantastic result of the weekend. How did you see that one?
With my eyes, like I saw a double save. No, it was really good. I wasn't expecting it, but no, it was good, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, and pick out the points. All three
exactly.
of them.
Yeah, all three of them. Go on, Marco.
If I can just say, if we do, obviously, we're a very popular podcast, but if it does all go sort of Pete Tom, we have got the backup of being like a murder mystery podcast with all the double save or triple save investigations. It was we had the full Twitter having a look if we were doing 2 or 3 saves. But yeah.
Well, that's it. Right, grab your cheeky Nandos, get yourself sat down, and get ready for another episode. And get ready for another episode of the Iron Hour podcast. Right, let's kick us off then. Gareth, we've already talked about it briefly. It's my second visit to Brackley. Was it your third?
Third visit. Yes.
Third visit. And how does this one compare to the others?
Well, it was a lot warmer. I had a football shirt on, surprisingly.
I couldn't believe that. I've never seen him in a football shirt in my life.
I know, but I just felt that the club had done bits by getting it out before the season had started. And I thought I had to support that, didn't I? So,
Sorry, just got to put you up there. You're too old, remember, to be using phrases like doing bits. Can you just get in line, please, mate, and remember your age?
Sorry. I apologise. But no, it was really good. I wasn't expecting it. 3 goals, didn't concede. I would have been happy with a draw before the game kicked off, but to see us score 3 and not concede, absolutely amazing.
And Marco, we spoke so much last week about how Brackley were probably the team to watch in the league and the threats that they would pose, not just throughout the season, but particularly on Saturday. It looked really that Butler's tactics, the 3 at the back, which you've been quite critical of, it worked so well, and it really did neutralise Brackley's threat, didn't it?
Yeah, so it was my debut at Brackley. I've never been before, but yeah, like guys, I was so impressed. One, seeing Gareth in a football shirt was crazy. As soon as I saw Gareth in a football shirt, I thought anything could happen today. I've seen it all. So yeah, but like you said with the formation, it's just. I know I used the term against Scarborough last year, which obviously stopped the affiliates will pull me up on, but we did run through them. We were very clinical with our finishing. Like I think we said on the phone the other day, maybe it wasn't a 3-0 game, but it's taking your chances, and boy, did we do that. I think the setup really did nullify him. Obviously, you can't really go for one game, especially the first game of the season. I do still expect Brackley to be up there or thereabouts. I think we've just had a very good day and caught them on a very bad day. But as formations go, tactically, you've got to give Butler an A-star. I think we're fantastic from minute 1 to the end.
Yeah, it's an A-star from Marco. Gareth, I think Marco said something there which I really agree with, which is we played well. But 3-0, it didn't really feel like a 3-0 to me. That's not being negative. I thought we took our chances really well, is I guess what I'm saying. And they were particularly unlucky with the double save and the block, as Twitter has now awarded it. Did you see it similar?
No, I thought we were good value for it. I really did. I thought I've seen their highlights reel from the side of the pitch, and basically it just shows them with the ball all the time and us celebrating 3 goals. And it makes them look like they've had a good game. But for me, they just didn't look on the pace at all. I thought, and that's because the tactics, we've nullified them. We've made them look ordinary. Because I was expecting a lot tougher game than that from them. And speaking to the fans before the game as well, they were, thinking they're going to win. And yeah, like I said, I've been happy with the draw. But I think the way we played, we were just tenacious. We were just all over the pitch. We were playing for each other as well. And it was just a good thing to see. But no, I think we were good value for it.
And I guess anyone who's been living in a cave doesn't know what happened on Saturday. We 3-0 victory, 2 goals for Alfie Beeston, a well-taken first-time shot in the first half, coming on 18 minutes. He followed that up with a header on 61 minutes from a Max Brogan cross. And then 71 minutes. I mean, was he? I don't think he was captain, was he? Because Clunan was, but Captain Marvel from last season, Andy Boyce popping up at the back post with a well-taken volley. Actually, the free kick coming in from Clunan, and I can't actually remember too many assists last season from Clunan, but he did get a hatful, I think, at Kings Lynn. So, Marco, do you think we've spoke about Clunan so much on this podcast, how we think he's going to have a really good season? How does that kind of set up with your expectations then?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret we obviously sponsor Clunan, so we want him to do as good as anybody else. But just seeing, as well as without the actual quality of the delivery, and obviously the finish from Boyce, just to see, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to watch the highlights from the pure emotion on his face, even when it's to make it 3-0, and when that goal goes in, he just turns to a bench and celebrates sort of at Butler and the rest of the team.
And
it
that's
was so refreshing.
Clunan.
That's Clunan, and it was just so refreshing to see. It's no secret he had a tough year last year. I don't think he was as bad as people made out. But yeah, I think, as we said last week on the podcast, very big year for Clunan, and he's probably my top 3 or 4 players on Saturday too, which was a lot to choose from. So yeah, really good to see. And yeah, big year. He's got some big boots to fill. Stat-wise, take Butterfield's goals and assists out, and it's a big hole to fill. And if Clunan can sort of chip in on that, then yeah, brilliant.
I think as well, like his set pieces were a lot better than last season. His corners that he was putting in, he was clearing the front man. Because last season they were, they had a lot to be desired. And this season, though, already his first game, he's done a lot better with his deliveries from set pieces. So yeah, carry on.
Do you know what I think that might be to do with, though? I have a theory about that. I think if you're given, at the start of the season, if you're told, look, more than likely you're going to be on corners and you'll be on free kicks, rather than last season, not knowing whether you're going to get the free kick or the corner. Sometimes it's Butterfield, sometimes it's Whitehall, sometimes it's Clunan, sometimes it's Connor Smith. I think it does help actually having that level of consistency. So look, if we get 8 corners, I'll be taking 8 of them if I'm on the pitch. I think it does work well.
Yeah.
Go on, Gareth.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, that if you're doing it and you're not thinking, is it mine or not? Then yeah, you've got your head in the game, haven't you?
Yeah, let's just roll back slightly then to that first goal from Beeston. I think what some fans might have missed actually, or you look at just the finish and think it was a great first time finish from Beeston, but in the build up, obviously as we know, Scales took the shot from outside of the box, but I think what was missed there, Marco, was Scales actually won the header earlier on in the piece. So he won the header, laid it off to Whitehall, took the ball back from Whitehall, had the shot which was saved, and then obviously Beeston gets your rebound. But for me, it kind of typified the performance when you've got someone, the height and kind of the stature of Scales, winning headers, putting himself about, really doing kind of the difficult work in that 3. I thought that was the thing that impressed me quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, look at last year. We know Scales isn't shy. He's always going to put his body about. Obviously, he's not someone you have down to win headers, but just to see that desire and obviously battling for the shirts. Not only that, the second goal, Barrow starting off the move, he then wins the ball back, obviously before the cross is put in. The whole team, like I said, from 1 to 11, showed that sort of desire that Scales did for that first goal. And like you said, we were obviously at the other end of the pitch, so I didn't really see that very well until I actually saw the highlights, just because we were that much distance away. Everyone sort of just sees the beast and finish, which was great as well. So yeah, Scales, obviously, we didn't know where we were going to play, but he looked fantastic. But the whole shape and team looked fantastic on Saturday.
Yeah, well said. Gareth, one thing Michael touched on there was the build-up for the second goal. I counted on the footage 9 successful passes in the build-up to the goal. Barrows was involved, as Michael just mentioned there, but Clunan as well with 2 kind of key passes in the midfield. He got a lot of stick last season for those sideways passes, but they were influential in that move actually. And I don't know, it just feels Gareth like I know coming back to Clunan here, but he just suits playing in that 3, just like Scales does, and it actually enables Clunan to play so much more of his natural game.
Yeah, and I would say those passes that you mentioned there as well, they're a lot quicker than last season. Last season, we seemed to slow the play down. Those passes were slow passes. This time around, they were really quick. They were sharp, and it was like we've got an end mission with these passes, whereas before it was we'll pass it side to side. We'll wait for somebody to get in a position that looks good, and then we'll lump the ball. Whereas this time it was like there were direct passes, sharp passes with pace, as though this is what we're going to do with it. We want to move it quick. And so that was a massive difference when we say side to side. They were quick passes.
Mm.
They had direction.
And I think the other thing that stood out for me, Marco, was brave call from Butler actually pulling the trigger at halftime and taking Roberts off. Not something I necessarily think previous managers might have done. That was a big call, especially when we find out after the game that it's not injury related. It was the official reason being given as fatigue. I think we can probably read into that a little bit deeper, and what Butler's saying there is not necessarily fitness, but it just looked a little bit lethargic. Didn't quite suit what we were going for on the day. What did you think of Butler pulling the trigger at halftime?
No, I think it's what we mentioned last week on the podcast. I feel like with Roberts, everybody knows the quality's there. On his day, he's one of the best players, if not the best player in this league. But it's fitting him into this shape. And in that first half, I don't think he was as effective on the pitch in that position as he would have been in a formation where he's out wide. But then you've got the argument, do you really want Cal Roberts at right wing back in this shape? I don't. You want him up the pitch. So it's a huge call by Butler. It's good to see him make them calls, because that can be the difference between 2-0, 3-0, or them getting back into the game. So yeah, really refreshing to see. I thought the sub made a big difference. And look, Roberts is going to get game time. He will play majority of the games this season, but not every game's for that kind of player. I think we saw that at Peterborough Sports last year before he went off injured. He was tearing it up. And nobody really thought he'd do that on a sort of plastic pitch. So you just get players for games, and I just don't think that was his game on Saturday.
Can I just say, though, I thought he did well in backing Barrows up at times as well, helping him out. I know he was really deep at times, helping out, but he was there to do it, and it worked well for him and for the team.
Yeah, I actually thought that. I didn't think Roberts was necessarily having a bad game when he got the Shepherd's hook, as it were. I thought
not a bad game, but I just think it wasn't. You don't see the best of Roberts in that position, and like I said, he did a job. It's very similar to Trippier in the Euros. He's obviously not a left back, but he was the definition of doing a job, and I think he was very solid at that job. And I think he was just sort of filling in. But like Max said on the podcast the other week, I think we might see that a lot this year with sort of players filling in different positions. And it worked. It did work. But yeah, good decision from Butler, and I fully agree with it.
Yeah, could get on board with that. Gareth, you briefly talked about the Barrows at fullback there. What did you think of our fullbacks, wingbacks, whatever you want to call them? What did you think of Barrows and Denton in those positions?
I thought they did really well. I was surprised by Barrows, I'll be honest, and I think a few others were as well. For me, he was man of the match. I know Beaton got it officially, but I just thought he had a fantastic game. His distribution, his tackling, Denton as well. I just thought they were both looked really good. Yeah, I've got no qualms with them being wing backs, and getting back and doing it and moving forward.
Mm.
I've got no, I don't know. They didn't have a bad game. It's just keeping the consistency now, though, isn't it? It's all right having one good game. You've got to have another good game and then another good game. Picking up a win at Brackley is great, but we've got to follow that up now at Marine.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the back three, they look quite solid, didn't they, Marco? Bit of a surprise. Was it that we saw boys starting and not Evans?
Yeah, I think we was all probably a little bit surprised, weren't we? Regarding Barrows, I think I'm possibly one who probably owes him an apology because I didn't think he looked very good in that right wing back role. But as Gareth said, probably the man of the match. So I was clearly wrong there. It proves what do I know. But yeah, I think we're very surprised boys started. I think, like you mentioned the other week, possibly that being in the middle of those three really does suit him, e.g. mobility, and having those around him. I thought Nicholson was fantastic, not just the block on the line. I thought the throw gave us a bit more presence. I feel like, obviously, earlier on we mentioned McLuhan with set pieces. Having Nicholson, Boyce and Coogan going up for set pieces is not something you want to be dealing with. And I think we could have got another day, we could have got even more goals from set pieces. So yeah, really impressive with defence as a whole. Denton, Barrows, and then, like you said, the back three, Evans will be feeling really hard done by because it's like we said earlier with Roberts, Evans walks into any other team in the league. And the fact that we've got the luxury of putting him on the bench and then bringing him on in CDM is mental. So yeah, really happy. We look really solid. But again, Evans will be starting games this year as well as Boyce, so there's plenty of game time.
Yeah, it was interesting to see him come on in that CDM role, which we'd seen him a couple of times in pre-season. We talked about it last week. Not for me, but, I guess...
What do we know?
What do we know exactly? Right, Gareth, on 50 minutes, there was... about 50 minutes, there was a sliding doors moment in the game. Fitzsimmons, we think, makes 2 saves, and there's a block on the line from Nicholson. Big moment in the game. If that goes in, one of those chances go in. It's a very different game. What did you kind of think at that moment? Did you think, same as me, sliding doors moment, or do you think it's just a case of weathering the storm and we come good regardless of whether they score or not?
I think it was a case of weathering the storm for me. We knew they'd come out all guns blazing. They had to, because that first half, they didn't look great. They didn't really have many chances. I know I've listened to Gavin Cowan's interview after the game, and he said they were in it for 70 minutes. I don't know which 70 minutes he was watching, but no, I just thought that was them like coming out on the front foot and going for it and trying to get back into the game. And the double save, the block on the line, just nullified that, didn't it? It's kind of knocked the wind out of the sails a little bit. And we've moved on from it. But I think even if they'd have scored, we'd have scored again. I really do think that. We just looked good going forward. We looked good defending. We just looked good all over the park. So, but yeah, no, for me, it was expected that they'd come out like that in that second half. And we just weathered the storm.
And you touch on Gavin Cowan there. Experienced manager, experienced non-league kind of manager. Was at Telford for 3 years. I think this is second season with Brackley. He got them to the playoffs last season. They were unlucky, actually, in that final. I think Boston really came good at the right time. Usually a really well-drilled team. And they just kind of looked at salts, really, on Saturday. And it's difficult because the 4 times we saw them last season, they were, for me, far and away the best team we saw. Very different, actually, to Tamworth. Tamworth were a team that got the job done, were quite defensively astute. And Brackley were pretty defensively tight, but God, Brackley really turned it on at times last season. So it surprised me, actually. Did it surprise you, Marco?
Yeah, hugely. I was really taken back. But obviously, coming back to Gareth saying about the double saves, so it would have been interesting to see if we had have gone sort of back to 1-1 and conceded a goal, how we did react from that. And it'd be really interesting to see. Obviously, I'm glad we didn't have to. But at some point in the season, we are obviously going to need to see how we can bounce back. Regarding sort of Brackley's performance, it was crazy. Like you said, crazy. I really didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be a really tight affair. I thought they obviously, maybe I said on Gareth's vlog, I thought they'd go 1-0 up and we'd equalise late on. And I really did think it was going to be one of them games, but complete opposite. And refreshing, because it's not something we're used to, especially a nice 3-0 win, no nerves, obviously barring the double save. But yeah, the definition of getting the job done and convincing me. I don't agree with them being in the game 70 minutes at all.
I think for me, they missed their number 7 from last season. It's Matwassa.
Yeah, Cosmo Matwassa. Cosmo Matwase was a really good player actually last season. Really stood out.
I think they missed him on the wing for definite.
Where's he gone? Has he gone up a level or?
Gone to Hereford.
Hereford, yeah. And I think Scunny were actually looking at him last season before this was the start of last season. I think the story goes he never turned up for a medical or something. And next thing you know, Brackley have announced that they've signed him. So that was, I probably agree with you there, Gareth. Right, 5 subs this season. Gareth, did that have any kind of effect on the game? Did that catch you by surprise? What do you think to that?
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting it. I'd forgotten that 5 subs were allowed. And so I was like, people were asking me, how many subs they brought on now? And I was like, I don't actually know. It felt like a pre-season friendly, you know what I mean? All subs coming on. So, I don't know if I like it, but it's going to help. Obviously, it's going to help teams massively. If you're jaded and you're on 70 minutes, like Brackley have been in a game for, then if you bring 5 subs on at once, it's a big game changer, can't it? But I'm not keen on it, but we'll see how it goes.
I don't think he makes that Roberts sub at halftime if it's just 3 subs. I think that's indicative of the fact that you can make those 5 subs. Bizarre though that the National League are allowed to name 7 substitutes on the bench and obviously make the 5. But we are only able to name 5 and make the 5. And it's bizarre. I don't know what on earth's going on there. Right, Marco, if I'm being super negative, let's try and find some negatives from the game. Is there an argument that Danny Whitehall was maybe a little bit off it on Saturday?
Yeah, if you've been really, really harsh, maybe not off it. I just think the work that he was doing sort of off the ball made the other players better, sort of being unselfish. He had a good chance in the second half to obviously get that second goal, but yeah, I mean, we are being super, super harsh. I thought the work he did off the ball enabled us to get into the game. But Danny Whitehall will be the first to say if he doesn't take that goal, he'll be annoyed at himself. He'll be pissed off at himself. But again, it's super critical, and you do well to pick anyone less than an 8 out of 10 on Saturday. I think we were really that good. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, looking ahead then, we've got Marine at home on Saturday. They probably got a good draw. They'll feel like they got a good draw against Oxford City at home on Saturday, but they did actually concede. They did concede late on in the piece. I think it was in injury time they conceded against Oxford City. They've got a really good manager in Neil Young, really experienced non-league manager in Neil Young. Obviously, they've come up. Gareth, what are your thoughts going into the game on Saturday?
I'll be honest, I don't know much about Marine. Maybe I should know more. I will know more by Saturday. But for me, I just think we've got to back up that win at Brackley. It's no point going into the game and losing or even getting a draw. I think we've got to get the 3 points just to cement that Brackley win as well. Because otherwise, you lose that game against Marine. The Brackley win means nothing. Ultimately, against one of the better teams, and that's no disrespect to Marine. We've just got to back it up and get 3 points. For me, we're at home. We're going to have a good crowd behind us. So yeah, let's just go for them.
So I listened to the post-match interview with Neil Young following their 1-1 draw. It sounds like they, even at home to Oxford, they really did kind of, I don't want to say park the bus, but they were disciplined. They knew the roles. They tried to defend the set pieces well. They took their chance through set pieces. They did actually concede. The goal they conceded was from a corner, so that will really frustrate them. But from what I could gather from the post-match interview, it seems like if they did that against Oxford, we can expect something similar, Marco, on Saturday. A team that'll probably come and look to frustrate us and get out of there with a point, probably.
Yeah, I mean, we were sick of saying this last season. It was teams coming to Glanford Park, Viatis Arena, and setting up shop. And I think that's what we might see on Saturday. The fact that they conceded a set piece is music to my ears, because I think we're going to be really dangerous at set pieces. So hopefully that's somewhere we can exploit that, because I feel like we might get a few. Also, obviously we haven't brushed up on that. We didn't even have somebody who looked so impressive pre-season. We didn't have Cowan on Saturday. Obviously with suspension, so him coming back into the fold, I think, could be key. Is he not?
It's a 3-game suspension.
Oh, did he get a red card?
Yeah, he got a red card last in the playoff semi-final for Charlie, ironically, away at Brackley. Got a red card. The club found out 2 p.m. the day before the Brackley game. So he will there'll be 2 more games basically of his suspension. I think that call.
Is it the Needham game?
Yeah, the Needham Market game will be the last one
Needham
on this.
Yeah.
So he'll feel disappointed with that. I mean, I know it kind of caught the club off guard. They didn't know they got a call at 2 to say. I'd be interested to know actually who picked up on that now that you've mentioned that, because if somebody at the league has notified us, then they've done us a favour there, because we would have fielded an eligible player and we would have probably surrendered the points or something. So it'd be interesting to see who actually picked up on that. I'll tell you one thing though, I don't for a minute believe that Carlton wouldn't have known. I bet he's had sleepless nights thinking, where do I tell him?
If he had have known and would have thought, I'd have been really pissed off. So like you said, I think if it has come in late on, it's obviously done us a favour. Sort of going back to the substitutes, us having the ability at some point say we are against a team like Marine, like for example this Saturday, and if he was available, we could bring Laws, possibly Roberts, Carlton, obviously Fish. We could bring 4 or 5 really good attackers, and likewise, I feel like it's going to benefit the teams up the top of the league with the bigger squads. Obviously, there's no secret we've got a lot of quality on that bench, so I think it's really going to benefit us. But like you said, to not be able to have 7 players on the bench when there's 5 subs to choose from seems very harsh.
And can I just say as well, his first game that he's available for is the game against Chorley.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That would be really interesting.
Does he start? If we win Marine and Brackley, does he start?
No, because it sounded from what Butler said in the post-match interview, it sounded like he wasn't going to start anyway. He'd already made the decision that Beeston was going to be the second striker, and it was probably going to be Carlton that would come off the bench. Whether he's telling the truth, I believe him. I don't see why he would lie about that. But that was the post-match interview on Humberside. Was it didn't change too much. They'd already announced what the starting lineup would be, and it didn't affect that. So. But then also, Butler has said it's horses for courses this season, and actually we might even see a different 11 against Marine. So it's hard to know, but no, on the face of it, I think you could probably assume Beeston's his preferred second striker, which is a shock to us, but that's what I think he's going with, Gareth.
Well, he's the man, he's the manager. Let him do his job. Say what can you do? And if Beeston's scoring goals, he's not going to walk. Carlton's not going to walk back into the team anyway.
No,
he's performing. So we'll leave that to Butler to worry about. And let's get some good training done.
Yeah, I mean the Marine. Just coming back to Marine, you talked about managers there. The Marine manager Neil Young, really good, experienced kind of non-league manager, being at Chester, Stockport, and Altrincham. I think he's now won 2 promotions with Marine, and as well as the Liverpool Senior Cup. So quite a few trophies there. Successful manager, looks like an adaptable manager as well. And with the squad he's got available, they're not a bad squad, Gareth. You say, maybe we don't know too much about them, but a good squad. One thing we should probably tell Lion fans, though, if they're expecting to see Bobby Grant on Saturday, he is actually injured. So Bobby Grant plays for Marine, but he is injured. He got injured in a pre-season friendly against Bootle. He went off, limped off, and again, listening to the post-match interview from Saturday, Neil Young had said, we're still without our club captain, Bobby Grant. So you can take it from that probably won't see Bobby this weekend. He certainly won't be starting. He might come off the bench, but it seems unlikely. I know some fans had speculated, Marco, that it'd be just our luck that Grant would score. If he doesn't feature then as it looks like he wouldn't, do you think that changes the game in any way?
No. I mean, look, how old's Bobby Grant now? 35, 36, even 37 possibly. Obviously, he's been that. I quite liked him in his time at Glanford Park. He was one of those players, I could be really harsh to describe him as sort of ratty, and he's one of them that could really, as a defender, you couldn't be arsed with him biting your heels. And I think he got quite a few goals as well, obviously, at his time at Scunthorpe. So, yeah, it would have been nice to see him again. And a lot of his split opinion. But, if he is their club captain, one of the better players, it's only good for us that he can't play. We've got to be selfish.
Yeah, so I've just been looking, and Bobby Grant is actually 34 years old. So there we go.
Still got
So,
it.
yeah, still got it. Yeah, so he looks to be in a mission from Saturday. I've picked up one player, one star player. Again, I'd be lying if I told you guys I had an extensive knowledge of Marine. I've done a little bit of scouting this morning online, just see what I can find. And Regan Griffiths looks to be the one to watch for me. Midfielder who actually made captain on Saturday in Bobby Grant's absence. Played previously for Crewe and for Kidderminster, and he was also on loan at Boreham Wood. So good kind of experienced player at 24, I think he is. Defensive midfield hasn't got a goal attributed to his name, but he does look, from what I can read online, having not seen him, looks like a solid option. Marco, do you think they're going to kind of load up the solid options and just get men behind the ball?
Yeah, I mean, look, I said earlier last year, teams like this, obviously newly promoted teams, their main aim, obviously, like I said, I don't know a lot about Marine, but the main aim, you've got to stay in the division. And that's drawing your away games, getting your results at home. If you can come and frustrate us, nobody knows how we're going to obviously deal with that. Obviously, I said we didn't really have that problem on Saturday because they didn't score. But it's going to be interesting to see how we do play against that, because I think Brackley, obviously playing this progressive game, gave us those chances that we had. So quite fell into our hands. But Marine will be a completely different game. So it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, no qualms with them coming and setting up, because I think it's to be expected.
The other player I've kind of highlighted would be Harvey Gregson, another midfielder, but a definitely more offensive option. He scored on Saturday, he was the goal scorer. Looks a bit of a threat going forward. Now, Gareth, they had a really good crowd on Saturday, did Marine. You know, for relative to their kind of usual numbers, they'll still have the bounce from coming up. Obviously, away to Scunthorpe, it might be a biggish stadium for them to go to. Do you think the occasion might get to any of their players? Do you know if they're bringing many fans? Do you know anything?
As always, I know nothing. I did read the other day that they'd sold about 55 tickets. Are Liverpool playing on Saturday at home? I don't know. Will that have an effect on Marine fans? It does sometimes have effects on other fans coming if they also support a Premier League club. So I don't know.
They're not playing on Saturday.
All right. So there. So they might. I reckon they'll bring about 100 fans also. But I think they've played in front of big crowds before. Marine.
They are playing on Saturday.
Pardon?
Are they?
Yeah, they are playing on Saturday.
Oh, so
it was hidden behind the TNT logo. Yeah, 12:30 kickoff. But they are away to Ipswich. So
all right,
it's Saturday, mate. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
it's Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, they might not actually get a huge allocation for that anyway. So the majority of it still be in them.
No, but presumably then Everton will be playing at home, will they?
Yeah.
If Liverpool are away, they're at home to Brighton. So
Brighton, yeah.
So either or then, So I still think we'll bring about 100 fans. And I think, it is a big occasion for teams when they come to, not to sound big-headed as a Scunthorpe fan, but when they come to Scunthorpe, they're playing in front of a big crowd, playing a nice stadium, nice facilities, or nicer facilities. So yeah, I think it's got to have an effect. You either up your game as an opposition player coming to Scunthorpe, or it gets to you, and you shy away from it. So it's a big ask.
So let's talk predictions then. Marco, what do you anticipate ahead of the game against Marine on Saturday?
Easy to just say another 3 or 4-0, would it, after Saturday? But I'm going to say 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0. I think it'll be comfortable, but not as straightforward as easy as I've seen a few people making it. I think it will be a tough game.
Gareth, what are you going for?
I was going to say 2-0 as well. And I think Whitehall's going to score this time round. And he won't be knocking pints out of people's hands.
So I'll go 1-0 Scunny, and I'm going to go Clonan to score. Clonan tonight.
Do you need my goal scorers? Are we having a little competition here?
Yeah, I'm going to Clonan score 1-0.
Gareth, who's your 2?
Have you got Whitehall to score 2, Gareth?
I'm going Whitehall, and I'm going to go Nicholson as well.
Yeah, I can see that. Who's your 2, Marco?
I'm going. Oh, do you go Cluden goal?
So I've gone for.
Right. I'm going to go Whitehall and Coogan. I think he's going to find his
Right,
scoring
Coogan.
boots.
Nice. So do you think Evans might get rested then for Saturday?
I can see it. But I mean, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I think anybody, it's going to be really tough to get into that 11 after Saturday. As long as we all train well, touch wood, there's no injuries. Surely we're unchanged. But again, look what I know.
Well, I tell you what, I need to ask you a question. Actually, is anybody apprehensive about their predictions based on what we saw on Saturday? I mean, I had us down as fifth, finishing fifth. Marco, you went as low as seventh. Gareth, more optimistic, second. But what you say, Marco? You change your mind?
Yeah, I don't think we might win the game with 7 games to go rather than finishing 7th. But no, I do still think, obviously, no matter how good Saturday was, it was fantastic. Obviously, I put us just sneaking into the playoffs. Nothing's changed for me yet after one game. Look, I hope at the end of the season I'm eating humble pie and Butler's lifting that trophy would be fantastic. But yeah, all bodes well so far. But yeah, I'm speaking of untimely prediction after that.
It's all changed for me. It's all changed. Yeah, I'm thinking the open top bus parade might be snowed off with it being February. So no, mate, I've got giddy. I've got very giddy. I think HMS Pistol League has set sail, and mate, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, Gary.
I think that's the thing, though. We've won away at Brackley 3-0, quite convincing, really, for me. And I just think everybody's got, super excited. We're going to win the league. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But we've got to keep our feet on the ground so much. And that's what I mean by, if we don't get a positive result against Marine on Saturday, that wins, by the by, isn't it? And sorry to be so down about it, but we've got to keep our feet on the ground. If we beat Marine and Needham Market, I'm all for it. 3 wins out of 3. Let's go for it.
Well, the next 2 games are actually a lot kinder than the initial game. Marine at home, Needham Market away. I mean, they got absolutely tanked on Saturday, 3-0. 3-0 they lost away at Curzon Ashton. Now, we know Curzon are a good team, but 2 goals kind of did for them in quick succession, one on 60 minutes, one on 62 minutes, and then the third goal coming in injury time. Again, we don't know a lot about these teams. We'd be lying if we said we did. Needham Market were always the one that had kind of earmarked to struggle this season, and it doesn't bode well for them considering how they got on Saturday. Marco, again, I'm asking you to predict the unpredictable. We don't know much about these teams. Any thoughts going into the Needham Market game?
Well, you picked the right guy because my Needham Market knowledge is second to none. But no, it's going to be the on paper, you've got it down as a similar game to Marine. Even with them being at home, you can't see them really. They are going to set up shop, aren't they? You would think, but if they go toe to toe without being big-headed, obviously we were probably guilty of that last year. We should be able to exploit that with the quality. And this 5-something, I know we mentioned it earlier. Games like that is really going to play into our hand because we can just try attacker after attacker after attacker, and with a lot of quality.
Well, a little bit of info on Needham Market. Again, bit of research done this morning. My one to watch would be Luke Ingram, a forward. I think he's entering his 12th season, 12th consecutive season with Needham Market. Originally having signed from Bury, is their longest serving player. Now having made well over 450 appearances and having scored way over 100 goals for them. 31 years old, bit of a veteran, but a forward who can probably cause us a bit of threat. So, Gareth, any thoughts from you going into the Needham Market game?
Not really. No. I know it's a small little town. I said to Dylan, actually, on the way down to Brackley, we were just talking football, and I said, "Oh, Dill, are you going to Needham Market?" He said, "When is it?" I said, "A week on Tuesday." I said, "I'm going down. I don't know what time I'll be leaving yet, but I'll be going." He says, "Oh, Dad," he said, "it's not really my type of thing." I said, "What, football?" He says, "No, markets." I said, "No, you pillock." I said, "It's Needham Market. We're playing Needham Market." He thought I was wanting to take him to a market. Do you know what I mean?
You thought you were going to take him all the way down to Suffolk?
He's just an idiot. But he's coming now. Now he realises it's football. He's thinking he's coming. But yeah, that's as much as he knows about Needham Market.
So
but no, just like I say,
he's not checked the fixtures then, has he?
No, he relies on Dad for that. But no, I just think, I don't know anything about them, I'll be honest. You've done more research than I have. Yeah, they've been promoted, and that's as much as I know, really. So they've got to have something about them to get promoted. I'm sure they won't want to be playing in National League North and stuck all the way down in Suffolk. But yeah, is what it is.
Well, they'll be in a very similar position actually to Bishop Stortford last season. I think just quick bit of geography, they might be a bit more southern than Bishop Stortford were, I think they are. I think they'll be more southern than Bishop Stortford would be. It's a long way to be in the Northern Division when you think of, Blythe, Gateshead, South Shields, even Darlington. There's some and Curzon. They're away at Curzon on Saturday, although that's not quite as north as Darlington. It's right on the other side.
Can I just go back to that? Are they playing Gateshead in the FA Cup at all?
I don't know why.
You mentioned Gateshead there.
Did I? Sorry. Who did I mean? One of the Northern teams. I've let myself down. Yeah, it could be Spenny. Should we bail me out? Let's say
anyone in the north.
Yeah, bail me out, Spenny. It's a bit catty from you there, Gareth. Not like you.
Well, these things happen.
Indeed. So yeah, I think it'd be hard for them. Really tough for them in this division. Similar issue to Bishop Stortford last season. Right, we've got a couple of questions from the fans. We didn't ask for them this week because we've still got two big ones to go through. But also, like I said, we're recording this a little bit earlier on in the week with the hope of getting this out later on, just due to availability of us guys. So I'll kick us off with a question coming from Scott Paxton, and a little bit of a thinker. He says, Gareth, I'll go with you first. Would you rather, scenario A, win promotion this season playing unattractive, sloppy football, however, then having to completely change styles to adapt in the National League? Or, scenario B, take 2 to 3 seasons, maybe even more, to get promoted, but implementing a solid foundation to then build a brand of attractive football that is versatile and sustainable as we progress throughout the leagues?
Obviously, everybody wants promotion. But out of those two scenarios, I'm going to have to go option B. Because for me, to get promoted playing sloppy football, yeah, it's great with being promoted. But then to have to change everything for next season, and whether that's going to work or not, that's a big, big ask to, I can see it off camera, Marco shaking his head. But obviously we want promotion. But for me, I think out of the two options, I've got to go option B.
Marco, then, correct him.
Promotion right now. Like, the thing is, with success comes the bad times. You lose your players, you lose your manager, and you're going to have to change your styles anyway. If we got promoted, you bet your bottom dollar there'd be people hunting Butler, there'd be people coming in for better players. I mean, throughout the divisions, there's not many teams, like, look at Notts County in the National League. They're absolutely fantastic. Now, you bet they've changed the style of play. You can't play that way at a high level. And I think it's really understated how important a promotion to us would be, and a huge step in getting back. So for me, I'm more than happy to change our style. I'm happy to win games hook by crook. That really doesn't bother me. But I can see what Gareth is saying. But for me, not many teams play the same brand of football for 3 to 4 seasons, other than Man City.
I am 100% with you, Marco. And I'll tell you for why. There is no guarantee whatsoever that even if you try and implement a system where you're building promotion over the next 2 to 3 seasons, there's no guarantee that you'll actually get that promotion. You could be stuck there for 10 years. If you get an option to go up, regardless of how you go up, and I'm not being offensive here, but like Tamworth did, you take it. You've got to just go with it. I'm not into this, it wasn't our season, we wasn't quite ready. That's a load of rubbish. You get promoted when you get your chance and you deal with the issues once you go up. That's my view.
I have no issues getting promoted, but you've got to look at it and think, you know what I mean? You get promoted playing a sloppy brand of football, you rechange the whole system. The whole system doesn't work, you get relegated. You're not going to be cock a hoop about that, are you?
And to be fair, Tamworth didn't play sloppy football. They actually played really disciplined football.
Yeah. But I just think I'd rather watchers play nice, attractive football and set a brand and, be solid and then get that promotion and have something to work with rather than sloppy football and then worry about it next season, which we would do because there'd be overhaul and, So, yeah, that's my take on it. But we don't need to worry about that because we're going to be playing attractive football and getting promoted.
I just want to be in a league where we're doing these podcasts and Barry's asking me about my teams and I know some players. That is honestly the end goal for us. Let's talk about Oldham. Let's talk about York, which at this point are huge teams to us. Not Needham Market, all respect. But really good question. And I'm sure that will absolutely divide any fan base. But yeah, for me, it's promotion or not bust, but you want promotion.
I'd say what we'll do then. Back into this week when we put this podcast out, we'll do a poll to the fans. We'll do a poll and we'll see what
we love think. A poll.
We do. we're like firemen. We love polls that much.
We also like other Eastern Europeans as well.
We do. We love anyone. You won't see us smashing up Greg's. Oh no, guys.
Love is love.
Love is love. Right, next question. Ian Sanderson says, I don't think that's his real name, by the way. I don't know who this guy is, but it's a good question. Ian says, if you could change one thing about SUFC players, refreshments, match day experience, anything at all, what would it be and why? Gareth, put you on the spot. I can see you shirking away from the question, but no, I want an answer. What would you change? If you had to change one thing, what would it be?
Catering.
Okay.
I mean, bringing in different food. Chips.
You want chips?
I want chips. That's it. Everything else, happy day. Get some chips in.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you something now. On Saturday, obviously, we play Marine. My missus, full disclaimer here, absolutely hates football. She hates it. I managed to get her into cricket. Not me, yeah. She's not that keen on me either. I've really kind of limited her options in life. And anyway, that's a different story. She really dislikes football, and she said to me this week, like Scunny play at home, don't they, on Saturday? Should we all go? And I was like, what? What on earth are you talking about? So I'm like, this is a bit weird. Dig a little bit deeper.
She doesn't know we don't have chips.
Well, I've dug a little bit deeper, and I thought, what posts could the club have put out recently that would have enticed her? And I found it. The cookie people stocking cookies at the club. And I said, oh, have you noticed they do cookies, the cookie people cookies? And she said, oh, yeah, I'd noticed that, actually. Yeah. I thought, right. So at least
I thought you were going to say like an Andy Butler post-run picture.
No, could be. No. Are you suggesting that her taste in men isn't geeky ginger bearded blokes? Because
probably not.
I've got some news for you, mate.
So is it chips?
So
Yeah,
chips,
Gareth
yeah.
says chips.
Get chips in. I think that'd entice a few more people in as well. You know what I mean? Chips. Get them in.
Marco.
Kelvin.
How can I argue with that? Well, I mean, what were the options? Was one of them the team?
Was one of them what?
What was the options? Players, refreshments?
No, it could be anything. So players, refreshments, match day experience, could be only, it could be anything.
Yeah, I think obviously the catering side is sort of. Last year we was all obviously impressed with the burgers, with Danny Stamp coming in, with the smoking goat. Couldn't think of a name, which was great, and obviously got a lot of interest and sort of what's it called? Is it the Twitter page with the food? I forgot the name.
Only Scran?
Only Scran, yeah, like the football equivalent.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, no. Away day food or whatever it is.
Yeah, sort of going down that route. Obviously, I think that's what's happening at football games now. The food is getting better. Obviously, the end goal has to be chips. Something we've been wanting for a while. But no, the whole match day experience, obviously we haven't had a home game yet this season, so I can't really comment. But yeah, the feel-good factor at the club will only get better with wins on the pitch. And as long as there's a nice burger, I'm happy with Larry.
Mine's probably a little bit more serious. I think it's actually an essential. I think we need to bring some level of junior football back to the club. It'd be difficult to do it as an academy, I think, because you do require actually a lot of funding for that. But I think we're crying out for something, whether that's a junior grassroots team who work as a feeder I think something has to be done because you're missing an opportunity here. And actually, the smaller you do it, even if you do have a grassroots team, you're probably restricting your field even more to just the town. Whereas the academy had such reach, there's Gold, Doncaster, Hull, people coming from all over, kind of locally, even Grimsby. And I think there has to be something because it's not a problem now. But if we are serious about the long-term trajectory of this club and we are looking at 10, 15-year plans, you need something because it will cost you more in the long term when you look at procuring these players. So that'd be what I'd do. That'd be my plea to the board would be when you get your chance, when you sort everything out, but it has to be sooner rather than later. There has to be something. And it wouldn't even cost the club so much money if you did it via a grassroots level. It would just take a lot of time and commitment. But if it's prioritised, it's probably achievable. Right, I'm going to get off my soapbox and we'll move on to the more fun segment. We've got Hero, Idiot and Moment of the Week. Now, for those listeners that maybe aren't used to this segment, if you're just tuning in for the first time, we have our panelists, which is this week is made up of Gareth and Marco. Usually Max is here as well. They'll give me their Hero of the Week, their Idiot of the Week and the Moment of the Week. And from each category, I pick a winner. So, Gareth, kick us off. Who is your Hero of the Week?
My hero of the week is one of our many listeners, and that is Drop Short on X. He referred to us in a tweet I saw as the best podcast in the world, which I appreciate and thank you. It's not bad for a bunch of amateurs. We do aim to please. So, yeah, thank you. You are my hero.
Well, rolling the red cap out indeed. Marco, who's your hero of the week?
I don't know if I can top that, but I have changed mine. I'm sure you've all been watching the Olympics. I don't know if you saw the breakdancing.
Yes.
But I have been following Ray Gunn. She has just opened my eyes to a new sport, and I think she just brought everyone together. I mean, I could maybe be a professional breakdancer. It's something I could maybe get behind, but no, she just brought a smile to everyone's face. I watched a video. She actually has a PhD in cultural dance, which is amazing.
Haven't you got a PhD?
Not in cultural dance. But no, she just brought a smile to so many people's faces. And there's a lot to be said for that right now in these times we're in. So yeah, for me, it's Ray Gunn.
Right. That's a good answer, but Gareth gets the points. I mean,
Just real quick, do I keep dropping in and out because I'm losing? I can't hear you for like minutes on end.
No,
I heard the Ray Gunn bit, and then I didn't hear anything else other than Gareth gets the points.
You get the point. It was good.
You missed it.
It was the best content. Oh, mate, it's the best content we've had ever.
Yeah, me and Barra have just been going in on you.
Oh, good.
If you think our feedback was good before, mate, you wait till you see these comments on Twitter next week. Yeah, Gareth gets the points. Right. Hero, idiot then. Who was your idiot of the week? Marco, kick us off.
I could probably see myself using this answer quite a few times this season. Obviously, following Premiership and fantasy football, which I think we're mentioning after. It's Andre Onana in the goal for Manchester United. For those who saw the highlights or on the news, the penalty shootout actually inviting Haaland to go to the keeper's left. Acting like Haaland has a soul or any nerves whatsoever is the wrong striker to be doing it to. And then Haaland obviously just dispatches it on the side, but is actually stunning. And not what you want from a goalkeeper. And to be fair, I'm very happy we've got Fitzsimmons instead. So, yeah, my idiot. And I can see that coming up a few times this season.
That's a good answer. Gareth, I think you're going to struggle to top it. Who's your hero of the week? Sorry, idiot of the week. Who is your idiot of the week?
Well, down at Brackley, I was stood there, as you do, watching the game, and a dad walked past me with his lad, and he mentioned that he was going to go and clean his eye up because he'd sprayed sun cream in it. And he says it was sun cream, so I've got to live with that and believe that. So he went to get it cleaned up, and then on the way back, he stopped and said, "It's all cleaned up, but I've tripped him up now, so he's got a grazed knee." So that's my idiot of the week. So Barrett, anyway, how is your lad?
Yeah, that was me. I had a nightmare. Luckily for me, as I said, Kat doesn't like football, so she'll never hear this and find out that my the fact that she charges me with looking after the kids is crazy. But I want to pull Max's stepmom into this because she was aiding and abetting me. She supplied me with the sun cream. So she's culpable. She is culpable. Gareth, I can't give you the points. That's outrageous. Absolutely digging me out there. So Marco gets the points. It's 1-1. I don't like that, actually. Very, very uncalled for. Let's go to the moment of the week. I'll stick with you, Gareth. What was your moment of the week?
Just the away support down at Brackley. You know, I don't know what exact figure, but around 600 was it? I think, you know, we had half of the crowd, and just to travel all that way down, especially when we, you know, last season we were beaten twice. So to have the belief in Andy Butler and the team, happy days, you know, long may it continue. We have a good away support anyway, but just to, you know, see it, and also all the shirts in the ground as well. It's nice to see football shirts out before the ball's being kicked, you know, in the shop and everything. So fair play to everybody for that. So that's my moment. The fans.
It's a good one. It is a good one. Marco, what's yours?
Yeah, see, I'm going to change mine again now because my shock when I saw Gareth in a football shirt was probably my moment. But I'm going to stick with me channeling my inner mystic Marco and say when that ball was put in by Clooney, before the free kick was even taken, if you check on the Iron Army's Twitter page, there's a video. Obviously, I knew it would come in. And it's Andrew Boyce, or Andrea Boyce, as I like to call him. And lovely finish, topped off an absolutely amazing day. So I'm sort of with Gareth again. But yeah, that was my moment. Then just sort of that elation, job done. It was fantastic.
Well, it was a cultured finish. That's why we call him Andrea Boyce. And Marco, I would have given you the points. I would have. But I have it on good authority that you were shouting Andrea Boyce every single set piece. And it wasn't exactly. It wasn't actually a prediction.
There's no way. This is fake news, guys. This is fake news. Who told you that?
I've seen it on Twitter, mate. I've read it. Is it Craig?
No.
Is it Craig, Gareth?
Craig? Oh, Craig Mallet?
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know. But in Marco's defence, I only heard it the once.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you've done yourself out the point then, Gareth. You've done yourself out the point.
Do you know what?
Who gets the point, he wins 2-1.
I'd have given him the point anyway because it was you know, the foresight to see that, you know, fair play.
I just wish I had some money.
Well, we are the betting pod. I mean, some of our tips last week were mental.
Yeah, I think we'd have all had money on Brackley after last week's pod.
Yeah, I know. Right. Before we finish, Fantasy Premier League, if you haven't joined yet, hopefully this will go out just in time for you to join. The deadline is Friday when the Premier League season kicks off. Make sure you join our league. We've got over 100 participants so far. I think we had over 180 last season, so hopefully we'll have a bit of a spike of entrants and get that number right up there. But it's free to enter. We have various prizes throughout the season. We've got trophies for the winner and for the loser. We might even do some runner-up trophies as well. We'll have prizes like shirts, footballs, all sorts going on throughout the year. And we promise this season we are going to be on it. So make sure you join our Fantasy Premier League. All the information on that can be found on our social media pages. And we've got the charity football game on Saturday, the 12th of October. We're playing at Bottisford Town. We're playing Rail So Bad. And we're raising money for Ward 5 of Sheffield Children's Hospital, which is the ward that helps young Evie out so much. Go on, Marco.
You're laughing, but like you could have said, like they could have been in Needham Market League last year. I would not have heard of them. So show them the respect that they deserve.
I once played for a five-a-side team called Inter Women, which was just insane. So,
is that Inter Milan's ladies team? Or?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So, but right, that's it for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I hope you've had a good time. Hope it's been lads. Not that bantery, but I'm sure it's been entertaining nonetheless. So this has been the Iron Hour podcast. A big thank you once again to our sponsors, Best Planks Wholesale Limited, and thank you to you guys, Iron Army, Gareth, for joining me. And
thank you. I'm off for Nando's now.
Yeah, I bet you are. And also the Italian psycho, Marco Polo. Thank you very much.
I mean, Gareth.
Only Iron.